and I don't think our goals were the same at some point as Columbia, but I didn't go nuts like Skip did, because I wasn't hung up on heroin, and he got hung up on heroin.
At what point? At what point in the life of?
Hey, I don't know, I
Yeah,
mean, I was right there, but I wouldn't know. I mean,
yeah,
that's the weird thing. It's
just
like all of a
happens.
sudden he gets, I was in LA trying to get Terry Melcher, who produced the Birds, to
Sure.
take over our second record because I didn't like what was happening in New York. We were doing it back there with this guy, and David Rubinson is a good producer. He produced Taj Mahal, the Chambers Brothers, Tower of Power, all kinds of groups. Got very successful. But David was like we were his first band, and he got where he got because of Moby Grape, and but he wanted to be in New York because he didn't want to leave his family in New York and come out here and do a record with us, a second or third record it was, I guess, or second record, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he just wanted us to have to all go back there. So we did our record in New York, and Columbia has a bunch of studios back in New York too.
Hmm.
And so, we get in we leave our family, so he doesn't have to leave his and go to New York to try to do our second record. And in the middle of all this, we're still doing gigs, and it's like being lonely, and it's like, and Skip flips out because he's just for trying to make himself feel better through some contact he made at a gig or something. He got some heroin, and well, this will help you sleep tonight, man. You look tired, you need some rest, so he shoots up, works on him, works on it. He feels better the next day, but he's didn't help him with his loneliness and his psychology, but at least he got some sleep. And so the next night he said gets a little bit nervous because you need some more of that to go back to sleep again, and so forth and so on. So at some point he took off. It was like one weekend, and he took off. I was in LA, by the way, trying to get another producer for the band. See, I had quit ostensibly because I didn't like what I saw happening. I mean, not to the band members. So I said, if you guys want to stay here and continue to do this and not be with your families and let this guy have it, whatever personal life, we're in this together, man. He's our producer. If he doesn't, we'll get a California producer where we can stay at home and do a record with our families, and so it can be more of a cool thing and not just as put the pressure on these fucking guys. Get him in a room and make him do this record before we let him go home. And so Skip just flipped out in the middle of it. And so he flipped. And when I say flipped out, he took off with this chick after a gig we did someplace, or they did without me because I was trying to get another guy to produce the band. See, it's like this whole thing in those days. And so I was in the studio with Terry Melcher, and Terry was the guy that produced the Birds. Paul Revere and the Raiders also produced Jack Jones.
Yep.
His dad was Martin Melcher. Martin ran CBS at that time and was married to Doris Day, who was Terry's mom. And I knew Terry. And I said, Terry, man, we need you to produce our second record. It's just turning into Sergeant Pepper, and we're a rock and roll band.
Hmm.
He said, love to, man, but the rest of the band members have to want to go do it too, not just you. So right then the phone rings, and it's the bass player Mosley, and he said, I picked I remember Candace Bergen was it that was there, and I had taken Candy out a couple times, she was now Terry's girlfriend, and Candy was like sleeping. I don't know what happened to her, man. She was pretty tight, and then she got, like trying to be a hippie maybe because Terry was definitely, I mean, I don't know how much of a hippie Terry was, but he definitely had tried to look cool with his long, he was seen as a hippie.
Yeah.
People thought he was, and he was hippie. It's kind of, he lived like that. Just did what he got up when he wanted to, and then went to bed and went to the fuck he wanted to do because he could sort of got a great job and is good at it. Terry. So here's Candy Bergen, and the phone rings. She said, "Oh," and sometimes it's for you. So I grabbed the phone, and it's Bob Mosley, and he said, "Skip just flipped out," and that's it, man. you know. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, he showed up. He wasn't there for a weekend, and he wasn't there. We did a gig. He left after the first night. Showed up 3 days later with this chick, you know, and they were at this apartment, or not the apartment, but the Albert Hotel where they were staying in New York, and he was with this chick, and Skip had a fire axe, and he decided, you know, he's trying to chop the hotel room door down to the drummer's room to get in at the drummer for some fucking reason, you know, because they had cooked up some idea that Skip is like the reincarnation of Alexander the Great or something, and this chick was Cleopatra, because they had seen what was it, that movie? Oh, Cleopatra. No, they haven't seen it yet. Or yeah, they had seen it, and you know, and they thought, yeah, we're, you know, like, because you know, she had this thing about taking over the world. This weird
And
chick.
this
And
was all in New York, right?
what?
This is all in New York during the WoW sessions.
Yeah,
And
right.
with WoW was the Grape Jam, which you were not on. Was that because you were in LA with Terry
I
Melcher?
I just quit after all that shit. You know, after all that shit, because I just, well, I mean, guys, man, I know what I ask you. You know, it's ridiculous.
But you
It's
guys,
it's
you
fucking ridiculous. You know, so fuck it. You know, and then
then you came
somehow
back.
no, they got me back.
Yeah,
I mean, even though Skippy wasn't there, me and Jerry and Don had to go do these gigs,
yeah.
and Skip and Bob, you know, so we had to get out there and do these songs. Where's Skip? You know, and you know, that was a drag, man.